Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of our color along. I'm hoping you guys are enjoying and excited for this. I know I am super excited, and I literally just spent an entire hour going through and picking colors, so I am really hoping this turns out well, and if not, well, we tried. My problem is because we have our background, which if you guys don't know already, we are working in Kerby Rosanes Mythomorphia, and we are working on the fire dragon. The background is oranges and yellows, which I am not very comfortable with. It's kind of out of my comfort zone. I don't use these colors a lot. I don't feel like there's a lot of colors that go well with these colors. So I was kind of on the fence about doing kind of like a dull blue dragon, but I didn't really want to do that. There would have been a pro to doing that, is that it would have kind of been cohesive with the water dragon on the other side. But I don't really want to do him blue. I'm going to do the rock as kind of like a bluey gray, so that way that matches. The other option I kind of thought of was grays, which I didn't really want to do that because with such a bold background, he wouldn't blend in, but he also I don't feel would stand out very well, so don't really want to do that either. So I was looking on Pinterest for ideas. Hopefully this doesn't make my camera flash out here. Let's see if I can get this to focus. There. Okay, so I was looking on Pinterest, and this one really caught my eye. I love this. So the background is similar in color to ours. Ours is a little bit richer and a little bit more bold. But I really love the color of that dragon and how it pops in the background because the dragon is so dark. So I am heavily going to rely on these colors as well as the style. There's a couple people that I've seen do kind of this effect with the dragon's neck, and I definitely liked those more in comparison than those that didn't do that. So while I'm not going to completely try to copy this dragon, it's definitely going to be heavily relied on it. So I've picked out similar colors. Mine will turn out a little bit different. I am definitely going to try to mimic the fire though, because I really like how they have that fire popping out from the background. That was something that I was really worried about, was the background and the fire being the same colors. So that is the plan, and this is colored by, if it shows their Instagram right there, Anja Netskates, I think. Probably butchering that. But yeah, go follow her and check her out on Instagram. I'm going to give her a shout out because I am heavily inspired by her artwork. So with all of that being said, we are going to dive on in here. I noticed in the last video I was watching a little bit, I feel like it went out of focus a little bit. I don't have the autofocus on because when I do, it does this weird, like, I don't want to use the word throbbing, but that is literally what it's doing. It's like pulsing, or like it's doing some weird thing, and I don't really like it. And it just constantly does that. And it doesn't stop. So I've been just relying on focusing it myself, and I kind of forgot to check up on it during the last one, so we're going to have to, I'm going to have to work on that. And hopefully I'll get better at that. But with all of that being said, let's kind of dive on in. So I did forget to do a couple pieces of the rock here, so we're going to have to do that. And we are going to base the dragon, and even though he's going to be like a dusky, kind of neutral purple color, I'm still going to go in with a yellow and base him with that, just so that way we have it. So I'm going to stay zoomed out for that. Hopefully the quality is good. Wish I could view this in large screen without it completely taking over. Let's see if I can do that here. Make it a little bit bigger. No, it does not want to. Okay, that's fine. I feel like that now just messed with almost stuff. 1 second here. Okay, so we're going to go back in with the ink tints that we did before. So it's the neutral gray and the peacock blue. And I'm just going to pop that in on these rocks here. This is the peacock blue. I'm mostly just going to pop this in like shadows. And kind of just sporadically. Okay, and then the yellow that I decided to go with is the Sicilian yellow, because I feel like that would be a little bit more of a neutral color. It's not too bright, so it'll give us something to work on. I'm going to avoid the flames though, I think, for now. And any objects, I'm going to try to avoid those too. So I'm just going to come in and put a light layer all over the dragon here. I'm not too worried about these darker areas just because they will be like really dark. We're probably not even going to see any yellow or anything in here, but we'll do it anyways. Just gives us something to work on. And I will bring you guys closer once we start working on things. It's been a long time since I worked in one of Kerby's books, so thank you guys for voting for this one. I was a little bit nervous, but usually the ones I'm most nervous about usually end up turning out pretty good, so I'm just hoping that that stays true to this one as well. Whew, my hand already hurts. Okay, there we go. So we have one very ugly dragon. Just kidding. We've just got the foundation on. We'll get there. Okay. One thing I'm going to do before I forget is pop a page in behind here to protect the pages behind it. And I got a piece of paper just for, I don't know what you call it, like cleaning the brush off? I don't know. Let's go in with a water brush now, or you can use a paintbrush with water if you don't have a water brush, or if you're just doing a base with pencil, which you definitely could do. The pencil I would probably use for a base, it would be probably the eggshell. Just go ahead and do that. It would be a little bit trickier because you got to try and keep your color consistent for the most part, so you'd have to really work on that pressure and make sure you got everything covered. This way you can just kind of go in, and then the water brush pretty much does all of the work, which is nice. Whoops, and we're dragging some, we're dragging some color in here, I think, from the watercolor, but that's okay. Because we are going to go over it anyways. There's one wing done. Let's start up on his head. It's definitely cool. I am a big fan of dragons. This would actually be pretty cool done in like Maleficent style. It is Maleficent, right? I think so. Sleeping Beauty, right? Maleficent is the dragon? Maleficent? I'm probably saying that wrong. Maybe it's Maleficent. Yeah. Background color. One more wing. My arm is going to fall off. Okay. So now the floating rock bits. Which I may have went a little too dark on, but that's okay. Okay, and that is it for our base. So now we can go into actually coloring, and we're going to start on the rocks. Just bring it down a little bit here. Okay, we'll focus in on that. Alright, so, oops, sorry, really loud, okay. If I was smart, I would not have put those pencils right next to my mic, so we're gonna have to probably edit that out a little bit. Let's see, am I gonna have, I'm gonna still color under the camera. Let's see, let me just get my colors in order here from light to dark. Okay, so let's go in with our 90%. And I should have grabbed my pencil sharpener, one sec. Okay. So we've got the cool gray. And I'm just going to start bringing this in kind of from in behind all of these areas. So this rock here, you can tell is kind of in front of this one. So I'm just going to add a shadow right behind it to make it pop up. Same with this one here. And this one. Now normally I obsess over like every single detail. I'm going to try not to do that because the thing with Kerby's work is he's got so much detail in it already that you don't have to go crazy being detail oriented. You can just kind of like half-ass it pretty much and no one would be able to know. So rather than focus on every single detail, we're going to focus on the bigger picture. Because otherwise we'll be here forever. So that already is adding so much depth to the image. What is that sound? Whatever it is, it stops when I stop coloring. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's just like a little click every once in a while. that's my desks kind of bumping into each other. Let's see if that fixes it. Another thing I really like about Kerby's work is he's kind of put in a lot of the shadows for you, so you can kind of tell where would be shadowed. So all of these little areas with these little strokes of lines here, those would be shadowed areas for sure. And then that at least gives us some of them, and then we can kind of figure out the rest on our own. Let's maybe shadow underneath his feet here. Oh, that wasn't even in frame. There we go. Oops. I say I'm really hoping that the quality on this is better for you guys. Again, like I said in the last part, please let me know. But I'm definitely, even though I have to kind of play jigsaw with my desks and stuff to kind of get everything situated to record, I'm really liking, you know, being able to just look over and making sure that I'm in screen. I'll probably notice a lot sooner if I'm not. So I'm really hoping it'll make the experience for you guys better. Because if it does, then it's totally worth it. Okay, so this part here, I can't really tell if this is under his foot or in front of it. I think it's under though, so I'm gonna go ahead and shadow just to kind of pop it under there because it's one of those areas where it's a little bit hard to tell. So that should help kind of send the rock backwards a little bit there. I'm not really sure how I'm going to fix the fire area down here though. Kind of kicking my butt for that one. Should have waited. When in doubt, wait. As soon as it was colored, I could tell. I should have looked up references first, and I usually do, but I was rushing. Oh my goodness, how did I forget that? Okay, I'm gonna base that real quick too. So, neutral gray. And and peacock blue. I really don't know how I missed that. Let's maybe shadow underneath it just to make it look like it's kind of floating right close to the mountain or hill, whatever this is. I'm not really sure. But it's gonna be hard to fix. I don't know if this is even gonna be possible to fix. Dang it. I'm sticking out myself to pop up a reminder. To pop up a reminder on the first video to let you guys know. Oops, not to color that. Can't hold on to anything. Okay. I might just have to go over this with acrylic paint. Because that's just way too noticeable. Either that or I'm gonna keep this in the video just because, you know, it's always nice to see how to fix mistakes. You know, I see so many people post on the groups and stuff that they made a mistake and they just scrapped the whole thing, and it's like, oh no. Because there's usually ways to fix things, or at least make them not so bad. And every mistake you make and fix is a lesson learned, right? So. Okay, let's get rid of the Prismacolor on there. There's a couple things I think we can try. I'm just going to finish kind of popping in shadows around the rock first though. Just because my methods involve water, so I don't really want to be trying to color on potentially wet paper. Okay. So the first thing we can try and do is lift the color. So I'm going to reactivate this. I'm going to get it nice and wet. I'm going to try not to get it on any of the other rock. And then I'm going to bring in a napkin. I'm just going to lift that color off. Okay, so let's do that again. probably about as much as I'm gonna get off. We'll see, let me dry that paper and we'll see. Okay, and remind me next time I pull out my blow dryer to maybe take the pencils and paper slips off of my desk because everything went flying. Dang it. Doesn't look like any of the tips on my pencils broke, thankfully. Let's see if I can find all these. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pencils. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper. So we're missing one. My dummy. Oh, I think it's that one there. There we go. Got them all. Okay. Yeah, blonde moments. Blonde. Okay, so this is pretty dry. I'm going to try to pull up a little bit more and then we'll see if we can go over this with pencil. If not, we'll try something else. Okay, that is probably as good as we are going to get it. So dry that again. So now that that's all dry, let me just set up my pencil swatches again here because they went everywhere. Okay, so we're using that one. Get that one. Okay. So let's come back in with our 90 here. Let's see. Oh, that's going on way better. Maybe just create some kind of rocky look in here. So just create a couple lines. I did break my pencils a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and color this area completely in, just because it's going to look funny and bug me until I do. So let's go with our next color, which is the 70% cool gray. So I'm going to bring this over top of the 90. Kind of bring it out a little bit. And just because we still have that yellow back in there, I'm going to keep this pretty dark. So I think we're going to go in with the 50% cool gray and we are going to finish that off because if I use anything lighter than that, that yellow is going to poke its way through and I don't want that. It's totally okay that we got little bits of red in here because I'm going to try and create a color to kind of highlight as if like the rock is glowing from the fire anyways, so not a huge deal. So hopefully by the end of this, you won't even be able to tell that I made a mistake there. So if any of you have ever scrapped pictures in the past because you feel like they are unsavable, they are definitely not. You just gotta think outside the box and try, and you know, at the very least try, and if you don't succeed, then you know, you still gain some knowledge and experience from it, and you're definitely not gonna make the same mistake again in the future, so it's worth it to at least attempt to fix it. So let's go back to the 90%. While I had my blow dryer out, I actually dried the rocks, the little rocks that we just colored as well, so we can go in and color those two. So then from the 90, we can come in with the 70%. And just as I always do, I'm going to bring this out from our other shadows, but I'm also going to add in a little bit of a shadow on some of the other lines in the rock too. Just so we've got different, what's the word I'm looking for? We've got different variations in shadow. Some are going to be lighter, some are going to be darker. Not all the shadows are going to be the same. And that's going to add some extra interest to this rock as well. I think this area I'm just going to color in completely. So I have a little bit of a shadow just on the bottom corner of this one too. And then I think maybe just underneath this guy's tail. We can just blend those down a little bit. Let's color this part in. And behind this part here. That was my tummy. Apparently I'm hungry. Even though I just ate cereal, so that makes no sense. We got Hershey's Kisses cereal. I don't know if it's new, but I've never seen it before. So I've got 3 different kinds. I've got chocolate French toast. And then we got maple syrup Eggo waffle. And then the Hershey's Kisses cereal. So I kind of splurged a little bit on cereals this week, but little man was super excited, so it was definitely worth it. Especially because I don't drink a lot of milk, so I eat the cereal, and then my favorite is the Hershey's one. So it turns the milk into chocolate, and then Carvin drinks the milk. bit. Okay, get afraid about these bits. I feel like with a rock as detailed as this, you could literally color it however you wanted and it would look awesome. A little bit of shadow to this little rock here, and then maybe just a light one at the bottom of this one here. Okay, that's good for that one. Okay, next I have the 50% cool gray, and I don't think I'm going to put this everywhere. I don't think we really need to. I'm going to pop it in, I think, on some of the bigger areas. So like spaces like this. Because I do want to keep the highlights light, because I do want to go over them with probably like a muted yellow just to make them appear like they're glowing a little bit. So I don't want everything to look too dark. Wherever we can, we're going to bring this out just a little bit and fade it out. So maybe this one here has got a lot of space going for it. So we color that on a little bit. Same with this one here. Don't think we're going to have too much glow going on this bottom one. So let's cover in the left side of this one and kind of fade it out. We'll have a little bit of glow here. Same with this side. This one here I'm just going to completely color in. This one we'll bring it and fade it out to the left here. Bring that one up a little bit. This part here, I think I'm just going to color this in. I'll keep that part fairly dark. kind of cool right here. It looks like a sparkle on the camera. Would have been cool to have like a dragon's egg or something here, like she's protecting her egg or something. It's a little bit too late for that, but it would have been a cool idea. This would have been a perfect place to draw it. I think that's probably good. Ugh. Bottom of my foot is itchy and it's always the worst because you scratch it and it like tickles, but it like gets rid of the itch at the same time. It makes no sense. Ah. Okay. So I do want to come in with the slate gray a little bit here. Not too much, just a little bit, because this is more of like a... Yeah, I dropped my pencils, so... Some of them are not very happy with me. So let's resharpen this guy and hopefully it'll stay a little better. Thankfully I don't use the grays too much, so could be worse. So let's just add a little bit of blue in. So I'm just going to pick out a few of these shadows just to kind of go over and make it look like there's a blue hue to them. Although with using the cool grays, I feel like they are already kind of blue toned as is. That's what kind of makes them cool grays, I suppose. So we don't need to do too much, but I'm going to do a little bit here and there. Maybe pick out some of these darker areas too. Wow, we are already almost an hour into this. Hopefully the dragon goes a little bit faster. Gets a little bit down here, then that'll probably be good. Okay, I'm happy with that. So next is the 30%. Just going to sharpen up this one a bit. So this one, what we're going to do is we're going to go over pretty much everything. And we are going to fade it out just in time to leave a little bit of a highlight. So this is just going to make sure that everything's blended together. It's going to make it so everything looks a little bit cohesive while not being like completely similar. And it's going to smooth it because I actually don't think I really want the rock to look too textured. I think a smoother rock would look kind of cool, especially since this is a fire dragon and, you know, fire and sand usually make glass and whatnot. So A bit tricky coloring along the bottom here, but we'll do our best. I'm excited to add the glow in on this because I really think it's going to just bring it to life and make it look super cool. Oops. See, this one already has, because it's got a little bit of the yellow on it from the watercolor, so this is kind of the effect that we're going to be going for. It adds just, I don't know what it adds, but it looks good. Add some life into it, I think. Even this one here that's got just a little bit of kind of yellow undertone to it. It looks a little bit more lifelike than the rest of it. So our last of the grays is the 10% cool gray. And with this one, I'm just going to go over all of the highlights. I'm going to use just a medium pressure because I don't want to fully burnish them, because we are going to go in with the yellow after. I haven't quite decided what yellow I want to use either. I'm kind of just going all over the place here, so I might even miss some, which is okay. The yellow will just appear brighter. And if it ends up being too bright, we can just come back in with the cool gray and kind of knock it back a little bit. But if some areas look brighter, that's totally okay. So again, having those little differences in similar objects makes it look just a little bit more realistic. Easier to tell in the more noticeable areas though. Okay. So I think that is already looking pretty cool, especially when we get the glare off of it. But let's grab a yellow and I'm thinking deco yellow, because it's a bright yellow, but it's not too bright. Trying that in here. just going to sharpen it up a little bit. So let's bring this in along our highlights. This actually might be worth it to have some orange in here as well. Just 1 second. We're going to grab the orange and the salmon pink, just because these are other colors that we're going to be using for the dragon, and potentially the fire as well. I can't remember. I don't want too much of the orange. Let's just go in and kind of lay it down here and there. Actually, I think it looked better when we put it in over top of the deco yellow. Look at the salmon pink. Maybe bring that out from the orange. Okay, so let's go over everything with the deco yellow first and then come in with those other colors because it kind of softens them up a little bit. Whereas, yeah, kind of going over them doesn't quite give us the same effect. So you can tell just by looking at the two sides how much this really adds to the picture. Even though it's just a tiny little bit, it's super quick, it's pretty much effortless. But it just adds so much. I'm going to add a little bit all over in here just because it already looks like it's got a lot going on, so might as well just go with that. And maybe let's add a little bit more on this side just here just to make it look similar so this doesn't look completely out of place. Kind of camouflage it in a way. So there's the deco yellow. Let's add some orange. This, I don't want to add a whole lot. I'm going really light. You don't want to go too dark with this. I'm just going to add it here and there. Maybe a little bit on this side. Some on the rocks. And then the salmon pink. bring this mostly out from the orange, I think, to kind of blend it into that yellow. We can also add it on its own in a few areas just to kind of add a little bit of warmth to the yellow. And there we go. I think that's the rock totally done. I don't think there's much else I want to add to this. There's one thing I want to try. Might not work, but let's find out. I don't know if this won't work. It's a yellow highlighter. I just want to see what this does. I think that's a little too yellow. So I don't know how big of a difference that makes. I think I actually kind of like that. Let's go ahead. If you've got a highlighter, let's just add a little bit of highlighter to these areas and just kind of drag it down with your finger to kind of get some of it off, and it also kind of blends it out. So again, I'm not going to do this everywhere, just mostly on areas where I think would be a little bit more yellow than others. They're kind of more the light can hit them a little bit more. There. So I got a yellow finger, but it's worth it. It easily just comes off with a wet napkin. Alright, so let's back up a little bit here. I think we're pretty good there. So that is what it's looking like so far. I gotta say, I am actually really excited for this. I know I've already said that a few times, but I really hope this is gonna look pretty awesome when it's done. So I think we are going to call this part 2, and then we'll have part 3 and 4 to work on our dragon, and I think we should be able to get it done. I might make those parts a little bit longer just to be sure that we get it done in the amount of time that we need, because I think we've only got 4 Fridays, and I'm a little bit OCD with posting color alongs on Fridays. Yeah. On the plus side, we have 5 Fridays for October, so our Halloween color along, possibly color alongs, should be pretty good. Okay. So, as always, hopefully you guys are enjoying, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next part. Okay guys, take care and see you next time. Bye!